this turn begins with Sammy telling you about another indirect unit that is near the lab, which is pretty obvious. You'd expect it to be defended. And I can tell you for a fact that it is a rocket unit, so be careful. You'll see. Generally best to bait it with something. Now, use the recon vision range, and there's nothing guarding the lab. But it doesn't mean we can just rush in there. Just thinking what to try, and no! The artillery was not in there. Will it be in this woods? Nope. Which means it's gotta be there. And that means my tank is gonna get shot. So anyone playing this, it's in the third wood. I think it's about time to load up on the APC and get in there. Now, I'm just winning this mission by defeating all enemies, just because I felt like it. But I realised a little bit later, according to a walkthrough, I only look at them for power requirements and speed requirements and the like. According to a walkthrough, you could just capture the lab, I think now, and still get a perfect power score. Aha, the rocket shot my rockets and not the medium tank, which is just what I wanted. Now I'm pretty sure that stuff is all he has left. Time to reveal. Yeah, best to use that, it's more expendable. And there it is. And it's not going to bother us anymore. And I just saw I'd filled up a bit of my power meter, so I didn't get a chance to explain Andy's CO powers in the previous mission with him. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get my superpower in this mission, but essentially, Andy's powers are, well, quite unique in that he's one of the only commanders who's capable of restoring HP to his units. The null power, yes, ambushed by an APC, like that's going to do anything. Anyway, the null power restores 2 HP to all units, which is alright, but it's generally best to use it only if you really, really need to, because the superpower is really... Actually, it's one of Andy's main strengths. Restores 5 HP to all units, but it also gives a slight offense and a movement bonus as well. Just using Hyper Repair here, because I'll never get the super version. But anyway, the main thing about Andy's superpower is, it means that if he gets one of his units severely damaged, he can retreat it, and then later on, once he gets his superpower, use it, and suddenly those weakened units become useful again. It's really quite handy in this regard. So, take that in mind. When you're playing as Andy, try not to sacrifice any of your units that have been reduced to 1 or 2 HP, because, who knows, once you use a superpower, they'll probably become useful again. And yeah, there's that lander. Just there to make annihilating the enemy harder. I don't think that's going to help you when all you have left are a couple of transports and a pretty useless artillery. Anyway, also, that works in reverse too. If you're playing against Andy, try and destroy any severely weakened units if you can. Don't let them retreat, because if they do, chances are they'll come back much stronger. Now that we've found this transport, we can gang up on it. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to finish it off this turn. Medium tanks do quite a bit to transport ships, but it's generally inadvisable to do this unless you really, really need to. Artillery and rockets, however, are pretty good against ships, and are a good defensive measure against them too. And right, completing the lab mission. Now, of course, anything optional tends to have some kind of benefit to it, so yes, completing the lab mission allows you to use Neo-tanks in other campaign missions, which are pretty much, well, they're the best land units available. They're basically medium tanks, but better in every regard. In fact, they don't have any of the weaknesses of medium tanks either. Their only downside is their incredibly high cost.
Mission complete.
And that's the lab mission and the introduction to Fog of War. Next up is the last mission of the Orange Star campaign, and one that can be quite troublesome.